Ever wonder what really separates the average person from those financial titans who just seem to nail it time and time again? Is there some kind of secret system, a magic formula they're all hiding? Well, let's pull back the curtain and find out as we dig into the lessons from one of the most legendary trading books ever written. We're diving into Jack Schwager's The New Market Wizards. Now, this isn't just some academic study. Schwager actually sat down with America's absolute best traders, got into their heads, heard their war stories, and distilled all of that wisdom into this incredible book. And this all leads to the million-dollar question, right? The one that keeps everyone from Wall Street pros to the rest of us up at night. Is there some simple trick, a holy grail that just unlocks the whole game? Well, Schwager answers that question right out of the gate, and the answer is a huge, resounding no. In fact, maybe the book's biggest secret is that there is no single secret. Instead, it all comes down to mastering a few core principles, starting with the one that trips up almost everybody. And that brings us to our first lesson, which is illustrated with a really powerful and honestly kind of shocking analogy. Schwager draws a direct line between the mindset of a failing trader and the disastrous decisions of Saddam Hussein during the First Gulf War. Okay, so let's walk through this. Think of it like a trade. Step 1. Hussein invades Kuwait. That's his entry. The potential reward seems massive, and he thinks the risk is small. But then the market turns against him. The U.S. sends in troops. Now, that is a crystal clear signal to get out, right? Take the small loss and live to fight another day. But he doesn't. He holds on, just hoping things will turn around. Finally, you get the blow-up. The ground war starts, and his position is totally annihilated. It's a catastrophic failure and a perfect, if brutal, illustration of how not to trade. And here it is, the moral of that whole story, and maybe the most important rule in this entire game. If you can't stomach a small, manageable loss, if your ego can't handle being wrong, then eventually you are absolutely going to take the mother of all losses. It's not about being right all the time. It's about making sure you survive when you're wrong. Okay, so we get it. Cutting your losses is everything. But what makes us hold on to those losing trades in the first place? Well, the book argues that the biggest danger isn't some crazy market crash. Nope. It's the person staring back at you in the mirror. The real battle is internal. It's all about psychology. Schwager is incredibly honest about this. He basically says that if you're trading with scared money, money you absolutely cannot afford to lose, you've already lost. That fear just poisons your decision-making. You'll hesitate, you'll bail on good trades way too early, and you'll freeze up on your losers. You have to be playing with capital you are psychologically prepared to part with. And what makes this so real is that Schwager, the guy who wrote the book, admits he fell right into this trap himself. He was on a hot streak, got a little cocky, and then took a hot tip from a buddy to bet against the British pound. The market immediately turned on him, but instead of taking his small loss like his own rules dictated, he just held on and watched it wipe out almost all of his profits, all from one emotional rule-breaking trade. Later, he's talking about this disaster with another wizard, Ed Sekoda, who tells him something that just floors him. He says, everybody gets what they want out of the market. And Schwager had this light bulb moment. He realized that deep down he was burned out. He didn't really want to be trading anymore. So what did the market do? It gave him exactly what he wanted. It took his money and gave him a reason to stop. You have to be incredibly clear about what you're really after. All right, so we've covered cutting losses and mastering our own psychology. Now let's see these ideas play out under the most extreme pressure imaginable, with one of the book's most incredible figures, Bill Lipschitz, the Sultan of Currencies. First, you have to understand the sandbox he plays in. Lipschitz works in the foreign exchange market. We're talking about a place where an estimated $1 trillion changes hands every single day. The scale is just mind-boggling. So here's the setup. Lipschitz is holding this absolutely monstrous position. He's short $3 billion against the German Deutschmark. He's betting it's going to fall. The market's quiet, maybe a little too quiet, and his position has gotten even bigger than he'd normally be comfortable with. And then, bam, disaster. Out of nowhere, Mikhail Gorbachev gives this unexpected speech at the UN. The market totally freaks out and reads it as bad for the dollar. In the span of just 8 minutes, Lipschitz is down $30 million, just gone. But it gets worse. The market dries up completely. He can't get out of his position. The potential loss balloons to $90 million. And he says in that moment he was truly terrified, thinking, this is it. This is the bullet that finally catches me. So, how does a guy who goes through that not only survive, but become a legend? Well, it all comes down to this incredible, totally counterintuitive insight.
Lipschitz says you have to figure out how to make money being right only 20 or 30% of the time. I mean, wait, what? How is that even possible?
This is how. It's so simple when you see it like this. It's not about how often you win, it's about how big you win versus how small you lose. The Wizards win by keeping their losses tiny and controlled. See those little red bars? But when they're right, they let those profits run and they get these massive wins, that giant green bar, that more than pays for all the small mistakes combined.
So, after all these stories, from the author's own failures to the titans trading billions under fire, what is the mother of all lessons? What's the one thing that really ties all of this together?
Well, the grand secret is there isn't one. Not in the way you think anyway. The secret isn't some magic indicator, it's your own psychology. It's having the discipline to control your risk, because that's literally the only thing you can control. Your win rate doesn't matter nearly as much as the size of your wins versus your losses. And ultimately, you have to find a system that actually fits you and that have the iron will to stick to it no matter what.
And that really brings us home. Because look, these lessons aren't just for trading stocks and currencies. They're lessons for life, right? We all manage our own portfolio of risks and opportunities, whether it's in our careers, our relationships, whatever. This is a game of risk, psychology, and discipline. So the question I want to leave you with is this. In the market of your own life, how are you playing that game?